Compass for February 10th, 2023. I'm Keegan Patton.
And I'm Tracy D. CFI's IMT program started off the new semester with a fun new project, building tiny houses. Braylee Lewis and Riley Parker from the Compass went to go take a look at these impressive builds.
CFI's IMT program's latest project was the building and wiring of tiny houses.
What we did was build a house, a small house, and we had to wire it so that it could run.
Students started off by framing the structures of the houses using various hand and power tools. They then performed a rough-in, which is the installation of device boxes and loose cable wiring. After these installations were completed, they then performed a trim-out, a phase of work that involves the installation of devices and securing cables. The students installed one duplex receptacle, one GFCI receptacle, one branch that controlled an exterior light, one branch that consisted of two three-way switches and an interior light, and one duplex receptacle that was controlled by a single pole switch. At the conclusion of this project, the students demolished the house and all materials were saved. This project prepares students for industrial technology careers by having them focus on safety, teamwork, leadership, tool usage, single-phase circuitry, and troubleshooting.
We made a small house and wired it, and then we also do electrical work and weld.
Spinning into the new year, the Winter Guard season is in full swing at South Laurel High School. The Guard began practices in November of 2022. This season will be the first in South's history participating in this indoor performance sport. We talked to two instructors of this program, Catherine Doran and Elizabeth House, who provided a little bit more information about Winter Guard and their future plans in the upcoming months.
Winter Guard is an indoor color guard activity. It's a choreographed show with elements of dance and manipulation of equipment like flags and rifles.
So our production for our inaugural season this year is entitled Gravity. The theme that we were kind of going for is something always brings me back to you.
This group took place in Owens County on February 4th, starting off the season strong. They brought back a second place title for their school. Competitions will be continued until late March.
Musical season at South Laurel High School is starting up again, and this year we are doing Mary Poppins. This 2-act musical will be shown in April, and the cast list was posted by Mr. Yaden's room on January 26th. If you would like to be a part of this production, tech and stage crew signups shall be posted soon. The theater department is excited to work with you.
This time last year, Ukraine was invaded by Russia. Next, Compass reporters Avery Sauer and Grace Hoskins discuss what has happened in the war this past year.
On February 24, 2022, Russian leader Vladimir Putin sent nearly 200,000 soldiers into Ukraine. He told the people of Russia that his goal was to protect the Russian people from what he claimed to be 8 years of bullying and genocide by Ukraine's government. In reality, his goal with the invasion was an attempt at preventing NATO from gaining a foothold in Ukraine. Most of the world, including Putin himself, thought that he would succeed in this invasion, but the spirit and courage of the Ukrainian citizen is stronger than Russian forces. What was planned to be a few-month ordeal has spanned out to last nearly a year.
Almost a year later, here's what we know about the Russian-Ukrainian war. At the beginning of the war, Russia took a primarily offensive role, and the Ukraine was on the defense in order to protect their territory. As the war progressed, Russia has become less aggressive in their tactics. This is due to the economic contraction they experienced in 2022 after being cut off from the global economy as a result of Western sanctions. Prior to Russia's invasion, they profited heavily by selling energy sources. Being rejected that income will prove trying in 2023. Research says Russia is low on equipment and ammunition, as well as the loss of some 80,000 troops. Although Russia's forces are weakened, President Vladimir Putin is determined to win the Ukraine. Despite the loss Ukraine has experienced this year, they have been quite victorious in many instances, despite the fact that they are much smaller and less powerful than Russia. Part of the Ukrainian success is due to Allied support from NATO. On Wednesday, January 25th, Germany announced that they will be sending Leopard tanks to the Ukraine. Hours later, President Biden announced the U.S. will be sending Abrams tanks.
The United States will be sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine. the equivalent of one Ukrainian battalion. Secretary Austin has recommended this step because it will enhance the Ukraine's capacity to defend its territory and achieve its strategic objectives.
Ukrainian President Zelensky claimed that these tanks are an important step on the path to victory. Insight says that both sides are preparing for a more offensive war in the late winter or early spring of this year.
And here with some studying tips are reporters Jessica Manning and Keegan Patton.
We here at the Compass want to share with our students some helpful studying tips that will help you aim high on your test scores this spring. Number 1, start studying in school. Note-taking is a way of remembering what you were taught or what you've read about. Some keys to note-taking are to write down facts that a teacher mentions or writes on the board during class. If you miss something, ask your teacher to go over the facts with you after class. Keep your notes organized by subject and make sure they're easy to read and review. This may mean that you need to recopy some notes at home or during a free period while the class is still fresh in your mind.
Plan your study time. If it's Monday and you've got 3 tests on Friday, figure out how much time you need for studying between now and then. Then figure out how long each subject will take.
Number 3, make your study aids. When it comes to learning, a 2003 study showed that practice tests work better than simply highlighting or rereading your notes. So, turn your notes into flashcards, or use a flashcard app for memorizing. Ask your friends to quiz you or write your own practice test.
Cut out the distractions. Study for a test. Distractions make it difficult to pay attention to what you're doing, which in turn makes it harder to commit facts to memory. Give yourself a leg up by turning off the notifications on your phone, temporarily blocking your favorite websites, or sticking to instrumental music while you study.
Number 5, review the day of the test. Before you take the test, give yourself time for a quick review. Shuffle through those flashcards a couple times or reread your chapter outline. This will ensure the material is fresh in your mind.
After seeing all the memes and coverage, online reporters Gracie Sizemore, Cherry Whitman, and Avery Carter watched and reviewed Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Last week, we watched the newest addition to DreamWorks' Shrek franchise, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. We'll be giving our honest review. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the story of Puss finally coming to terms to his mortality as he finds out he's on his last of his 9 lives. After getting a visit from Death, he goes into hiding at this old lady's cat sanctuary where he gives up the legend known as Puss in Boots. For Puss to literally dig up the legend after hearing of a magic wishing star that could restore his 9 lives. But he has competition. Jack Horner, the irredeemable villain of the story, and the crime family, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, are also seeking the star. And Puss must fight to get to the star, though not alone, as Kitty Softpaws and a lovable therapy dog joins him on his journey of character development.
The pros of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The animation was very nice, looked very fluid, had a very similar style to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I would also like to point out that the animation is so detailed that in this scene you can see Puss crying and the mascara running down his face. The voice acting was also very nice. John Mulaney, who played Jack Horner, was very good in it. He has a very theatrical voice. And Florence Pugh, who played Goldie, has a very nice, soothing voice, and they both fit the characters very well. The humor was old enough where adults could find it funny, but also young enough where kids could enjoy it. It also had a very good representation of family with Goldie and the Bears, and even with Puss, Kitty, and Perro. I like how it included nods to other Disney characters, such as Cinderella with her shoe or Maleficent with her staff, as well as including other Shrek characters such as Gingy or Pinocchio.
My favorite character of this entire movie has to be Perrito. He was amazing. Loved him. Loved his funny, tragic backstory. I loved the sock. It was great. He was a great, supportive character. If I say so, he stole the show. Another character I really liked was the Morality Cricket, which was a play on Jiminy Cricket from the Pinocchio. He was continuously mortified by Jack's actions the entire movie, till he finally breaks and completely burns the scroll. Which I didn't approve of, but loved the cricket. I kid you not. Within 5 minutes of the movie, they broke out into song. The song was too catchy, and it mortified me to see Puss singing so early in the movie. I didn't like the animation that much as the 2011's Puss in Boots. Looked kind of stale at times. I also didn't like how the fight scenes were like insinuated motion, if that makes sense. People were also different animation styles from Cats.
In order to get prepared for the Valentine season, here are 6 rom-com recommendations from reporters Tess Little and Kinley Ball.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is about ladies' man Ben Barry making a bet with his friends he can get any woman to fall in love with him in 10 days. But unbeknownst to him, an advice columnist, Andy Anderson, is working on a new column called How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, in which she does everything she can to drive the guy she's dating crazy. Of course, when they meet, their plans backfire.
The movie that debatably began the genre of romantic comedy is the 1961 classic Breakfast at Tiffany's. A young woman living in New York meets an inspiring writer when he moves into her apartment building. Only there's a few problems. He is in a relationship with a rich older woman, and she has an odd side hustle.
Cher Horowitz, a popular high schooler from Beverly Hills, sees herself as a problem solver, helping people who just seem clueless. Her ex-stepbrother, Josh, is working with her father during his break from college, in which he and Cher don't see eye to eye very often, constantly fighting. It isn't until she goes through her own journey of self-discovery that she realizes she has been falling in love with Josh the whole time.
On Samantha's birthday, she is surprised not by a party, but by her whole family forgetting her sweet 16 in the chaos of her sister's wedding. While at school, Samantha crushes on Jake, who not only is taken, but doesn't know she exists. Samantha, however, can't seem to escape the affections of the school's geek in 16 Candles.
After Jenna Ring's catastrophic 13th birthday party, she wishes to hide until she's 30. With some wishing dust, she wakes up the next morning 30 years old with a completely different life and a live-in boyfriend. She tracks down her childhood best friend, Matt, to try and figure out what happened and try to restore their friendship, only to fall in love with him in the process.
10 Things I Hate About You follows Cameron as he tries to win a date with the sought-after Bianca. The only problem is, Bianca is forbidden to date until her disliked older sister Kat does. Cameron decided to give the challenge of charming Kat to the school's mysterious bad boy. The movie follows the romantic pursuits of both sisters in 1990s California.
If you want to make something sweet for your Valentine's this year, CFI has you covered on a simple at-home recipe.
Welcome back to Cooking with CFI. I'm Maddie Purvis, and today we are making cake pops. For the cake recipe, you will need 1 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of softened unsalted butter, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1 large egg, 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, and 1 cup of whole milk. Next, mix your flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt into a bowl. Afterwards, mix the butter and sugar for around 2 minutes until it's creamy. While mixing, add the dry ingredients and milk into it. Then add the egg and vanilla extract. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees and grease your 9-inch pan. Once it is all mixed well, pour it into your pan and bake for 30 to 36 minutes. After it is done baking, let it cool. While it does so, we will make the frosting. The first thing you will do is mix the butter until it is cream. Then add the confectioner's sugar, milk, and vanilla extract and continue to mix for around 3 minutes. Once your cake is cooled, crumble it and add it into the frosting, making sure there is no large lumps. After everything is combined, measure out 1 tablespoon of moist cake mixture and roll it into a ball to place on a baking sheet. Refrigerate for 2 hours. While it is chilling, we will melt 32 ounces of candy melts in the microwave. Once you've completed that, move 2 to 3 cake balls at a time from the fridge. Put a lollipop stick around halfway into the coating before inserting it into the cake. You can now decorate with sprinkles and place it upright in styrofoam. Let it cool for around an hour. Let's try it. I usually don't like cake pops, but it's actually pretty good. I hope you enjoyed this sweet treat and give it to your Valentine this February 14th. Thank you for watching Cooking with CFI. On to the next segment.
And now for this week's community calendar. There will be a guided nature hike at Brushy Fork Trail in Berea, Kentucky on Sundays in February. If you want to participate in this hike, they will meet at the gravel lot on Scaffold Cane Road at 1 p.m. Learn and experience some of the science of why being in nature helps us physically and mentally.
Grace on the Hill Community Church is having a food drive for an upcoming food pantry. The food drive is on Monday, February 13th, and will start at 11 a.m. and it will end at 1 p.m. The church is looking for any non-perishable food items. You can drop your donations at Grace on the Hill Community Church.
The folks down at Laurel County Extension Office are hosting bingo-sized classes starting February 14th at 10 a.m. It will be hosted at the Laurel County Extension Office. The address is 200 County Extension Road. This is for people of all ages looking to play bingo while getting a little exercise in at the exact same time.
That's all for the community calendar. Come and check out these events this month. That's all we have for you on this edition of The Compass. Thank you so much for joining us.
Please like this video and subscribe to the CFI YouTube channel to keep up with the latest news from the CFI. Our next episode is coming up in 2 weeks.
We hope to see you on the next episode of The Compass.